Coming up next, it's the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We talk about that interview with Ken Anderson from 540 ESPN this past Monday night. Also, what the hell's going on with this WWE guest host situation and your emails in the interactive segment. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime starts now.
Number one since 1998 on television, ESPN Radio, and the World Wide Web, this is the Pro Wrestling Report with your hosts, the man they call Meathead, Frank Cosentino, and Dameon Nelson. Professional wrestling news, opinion, and information from fans for fans.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time for Friday, August 7, 2009. The man they call Meathead is on my right, and my name is Dameon Nelson.
Hi, Dameon.
Hello, Meathead.
I've got all my gimmicks laying out here. I'm sorry. We were playing earlier. Let me put away the soda with the gum on
We
top
weren't
of it.
playing. You were playing. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, coming hot off the heels of that huge interview this past Monday night on 540 ESPN with Ken Anderson, formerly Ken Kennedy of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Well, if I brought the gimmick along, we got to do it. His name.
You don't do it in my
It used to be. Mr. Kennedy!
I believe this is where you take a brief pause.
But it's actually Anderson now, apparently.
Our special
From
thanks,
Two Rivers.
Our special thanks go out to Ken Anderson for participating in that program, and the buzz all over the web has been about that interview over the past several days. He said some very controversial and shocking things, and we're going to talk about those and give you our analysis on them later on in this program. But Meathead, first, let's talk about WWE and Raw and the guest host situation. This past Monday night, Jeremy Piven, along with Dr. Ken, were the guest hosts. And we have since learned that WWE is not walking away from this concept anytime soon. While many people have made the comparison between WWE Raw and Saturday Night Live, this is something that can either be very good, as it was in the case of Ted DiBiase, and some would say Shaquille O'Neal, or could be very bad, as some say was the case with Seth Green and Jeremy Piven. Meathead, your thoughts on the guest hosts so far? Of the four I just mentioned, Shaquille O'Neal.
Those aren't the only guest hosts, but those are just the four you mentioned.
Who am I missing?
Batista. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump wasn't a guest host. He owned the program for a night. So I missed Batista. Who hasn't? Seth Green.
You miss Batista?
Shaquille
I don't
O'Neal,
miss Batista.
Ted DiBiase, and Jeremy Piven. Your thoughts? Rank them. Let's do the four best.
Would you like to think about the other one you missed too? The most awful of all of them? How. The worst. I mean, that should have just killed the gimmick right there. Two old guys with big, long beards.
ZZ Top.
That's how bad they were. They were.
I still haven't watched that one. I had a DVR error. That was when I was down in Orlando.
They were forgettable.
But we should rank them. So I guess that's your number 5.
That's the worst.
And top 2. Who did the best?
DiBiase was okay, but he wasn't top 2.
Really?
I was entertained by Shaqzilla. Shaqzilla was number 1. Because him...
Even though he was messing with your boy there?
Him and Santino were hilarious.
How'd he get so many cues?
How'd you get so many cues?
So one segment made it hilarious.
No, he was good in the ring, actually.
A lot of people say Shaq was good because Shaq is a huge star, literally and figuratively. However,
he was toe-to-toe with the show.
I would give the nod to Ted DiBiase because Ted DiBiase, first off, the gimmick is just still timeless. It's great. And the potential backstory there of him and his son and what was going on that night, and I think DiBiase...
By the way, that's my number 2.
DiBiase really did a very good job that night. Now, the two worst, I would have to say, ZZ Top by far
was so out of place.
You know, Piven did all right, actually.
Well, again, we were so focused on the Ken Anderson interview, apparently we missed Piven's crossbody from...
You missed.
No. We turned the TV off. We were focused. We were focused. I mean, it's not like when we turned the TV back on to watch the Indian Brewers game.
So that's who's done it so far. Now, Meathead, here's the news that has broken earlier this week via Stephanie McMahon to Business Week magazine.
Stephanie!
As I said, they're not going anywhere as it pertains to this guest host thing. They're going to stick with it, and some of the names that Stephanie has dropped are quite surprising. As you heard on the Wednesday edition of PWR Express at pwrshow.com, the top name on that list, I would have to say, and probably could be one of the most entertaining names on that list, is the Reverend Al Sharpton. Now, I think in order for him to come in and be the guest host, they would have to do some injustices to Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Ezekiel Jackson, and Primetime. That's all of them, right? Did I miss anybody? Any black ones? Did I miss any black ones?
What about Delicious? What about
Slick Rick?
R-Truth?
Yeah, him. But Reverend Al Sharpton. Now, Sharpton is entertaining.
No, he's not.
No. Think back to...
No, he's
Okay,
not.
in your opinion, in my opinion, Sharpton is entertaining, and he became more entertaining. Remember, he's hosted Saturday Night Live.
As an African-American male, he is not entertaining.
It was when he ran for president. And I believe it was it 2000? Was it this past?
You know what? I have to retract. Meathead wrong, Dameon right. Al Sharpton was funny in Mr. Deeds. That's it.
The Reverend Al could be a guest host for Raw, and quite frankly, being the show for himself that he is, why wouldn't he do it? What else has he got going on? So there's
Preaching.
some type of
Preacher
riot
man.
or something.
Preacher man.
He is the son of a preacher man. So Al Sharpton, I would be looking forward to that. I would tune in. It's intriguing enough. Another name listed is a man who has become famous by one quote, in my opinion. The price is wrong, bitch.
I may be interested in that.
Wait a minute. Bob Barker over Al Sharpton?
Only if he beats up Adam Sandler and brings his Barker beauties. And I'm not talking about...
he would have the Barker beauty.
I'm not talking about the originals.
Would he have the
Give me some
long,
new ones.
skinny microphone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bob Barker, though, what's he got to push? I mean, they have admitted in this Business Week article, as a matter of fact, the WWE VP of Marketing said it, I quote, they have something to promote, and we have the platform that they need, they being the guest host.
Maybe Bob's got a book finally.
Yeah, but, okay. Wrestling demographic, 1834.
ZZ Top!
Bob Barker doesn't fit. Who fits more, Bob or Al?
Bob!
Is Bob still relevant?
Yes.
What about Bob?
Because of the Adam Sandler movie.
I'm sailing! It's a good chicken. Bob Barker, Al Sharpton, and Freddie Prinze Jr., the last
Relevant.
name. He was actually a writer for WWE before.
Huh? About a minute. No, I was there with you. I just was stalling to...
And he
add
has some
emphasis.
stuff to promote as well. So,
Maybe he's getting Sarah Michelle Gellar pregnant again.
these three names aren't horrible, but here's
Really,
what
that's
you
your top
learn.
names that you promote?
Those are the only ones that Stephanie was able to release. But here's the risk you run. You saw what happened with Jeremy Piven talking about Milwaukee's the world's
Summerfest.
largest music
Right.
festival here, Summerfest, as opposed to SummerSlam. If they don't know the product, so you got to have either Jerry Lawler in there with them, as they did, or...
But you know what you need? Actors need to learn their lines. Piven, big failure.
What lines? We heard from Anderson last week that they don't necessarily have the show done before it goes on the air.
Yeah, but...
That seems familiar.
Hmm.
Down in WCW.
Oh, no, I was thinking a little more local. Where I get papers handed to me with chicken scratch on it and I'm supposed to read it.
Ken Anderson did a shoot interview. You want me to shoot? You want me to shoot?
I
about
wasn't
you?
even talking about you.
Oh,
Mr. I think it's all about me.
well, it is.
It's not.
Who else should be on that list? And we have some emails from people all over the world inquiring as to
May I
who
throw
we
Frank's
think
out
they
there?
should be.
Who Frank thinks it should be?
Yeah, come on.
Joe Jackson.
He's got something to promote.
As an African-American male, I disagree with Joe Jackson as well.
He's got something to promote, though. He's got his record. Maybe Paula Abdul can do it.
Straight
You know,
up.
I literally got a CNN breaking news text at 11:25 p.m. that Paula Abdul was not renewing her contract with American Idol.
Why do you sign up for those?
Well, because I want news, not crap about, as Lisa Lampanelli called her, some heroin-addicted whore who isn't going to be on a show anymore. Not my words, Lisa Lampanelli's. All right, I've never met Paula. I've just seen her drunk on TV. Charles Dankert sent in this email question to pwrshow.com. He says, with SummerSlam's colors being red and yellow, does that mean we could see Hulk Hogan as a guest host?
You know what I'd
on
really
Raw?
like to see? You pronounce Hulk Hogan's name properly. That's just me. There is no Hulk Hogan.
Since Jerkoff over here wouldn't answer the question, I will answer it for you, Charles Dankert. Vince McMahon has shot it down, but why wouldn't they have Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan.
Why wouldn't they?
I don't know if he can physically go.
Well, he doesn't need to go. He just needs to stand there. He can hold the mic, right?
I guess. What about Brooke Hogan? Maybe have her making out with other
Brooke
girls.
has said that she has been in talks with World Wrestling Entertainment.
Correct.
Now, here's a late breaking rumor
Here's the
as
thing.
well.
Here's the thing. Hulk Hogan has had talks with Brooke Hogan's legs and rubbed oil on them.
Stop
That's
it!
just
Come on
creepy.
now. That was just an error in judgment. It was a bad decision.
He did it like he knew what he was doing.
I think Brooke Hogan would be booed out of the building.
Good.
Maybe her and Jillian can have a
Good. Well,
sing
Brooke
along.
Hogan actually can sing a little bit.
Mike Adamle, rumored to have
Oh,
been
no,
contacted to be
no,
heat,
no, no.
heat,
No.
heat, instant heat.
But that's not good heat.
Your guest host is Mike Adamle.
Speaking of, bring back Eric.
Uncle Eric?
Uncle Eric.
I believe the bridge is burned.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's wrestling. Heat.
Oh, no. Bring back Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Time for a little hustle. Bring back Jim Cornette.
But here's the thing, though. The politics and the
Bret Hart.
situation in WWE is probably going to
Stone
cause
Cold.
them not to use any of those people.
Stone Cold.
But here's the thing, though.
By
Notice
God!
all these names we've just talked about. There are so many opportunities. Tony Schiavone. There's so many opportunities of people who can come in.
Welcome to the top of the program.
A number of people who can come in and do this. So it is at least creating intrigue
Scott
week to
Hudson?
week. However, the ratings for last week's Raw, now keep in mind it was up against John and Kate plus 8. They're getting divorced,
Who?
blah, 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 blah. 3.6.
What show is that?
It is a show, I believe, on the Learning Channel, which clearly you never watch.
What do I need
3.6
to
this
learn?
week, a 4.0 last week when Shaq was Raw.
Shaq Diesel was...
So is it worth once a month having this big star, having this good show to deal with 3 piss poor shows?
No, because they
And
think
does the
everyone...
GM have that much influence?
And,
Or the guest host?
I mean, as far as draw, as far as pull, to get
Well,
draw.
as far as overall show, did it really impact
I
the
think
quality?
Shaq increased the quality of the show.
Okay.
Okay? ZZ Top really dragged it down. It was awful.
Is Shaq a Cavalier now?
Yes.
So he's playing with that LeBron?
The LeBron guy, yeah. Jeremy Piven and Dr. Ken, too much, and I thought they were insulting to the wrestling business, to be quite honest.
Really?
With you. I thought it was insulting, Dr. Ken especially. Piven got physical. He did a crossbody. Wow. Okay. Seth Green.
Summerfest. It's an easy mistake to make. I mean, it's funny
Learn
how
your
this is just gone so rampant.
And it's gone more rampant for us here because Summerfest is Milwaukee. Milwaukee is Summerfest.
Yeah, but it's an easy mistake to make, especially if you don't know the
Cena
product.
jumped right in on him too.
But here's my opinion: if they don't know the product, if they have not watched the product, if they're not at least a casual fan, they have no business being in that role.
Zach Wilde. He was the first ever. Him and his band Black Label Society was the first band to perform on Wrestling Society X. Zach is a nut for wrestling. He bladed himself before the show. That's the guy you get. You get a guy that's into the product.
You think Al Sharpton watches Raw?
No,
You
absolutely.
think he
not.
watches SmackDown? There are more black people on
No.
Maybe you can be a guest on the Abraham Washington show. Did you watch that?
That
Pathetic.
abortion.
I was trying to be good. I wasn't going to say it. But yes, on the first 12 minutes of ECW this past Tuesday night, that was bad TV, folks.
And again, as an African American male, I don't know what he's doing with his hair either, but
He looks a lot like The Rock. He is Samoan-ish, I believe. For those of you that don't know, Abraham Washington played the role of GM in FCW for a long while before being called up to WWE.
Well, FCW
and I think he's getting at least a character that people are reacting to now. And that reaction this past Tuesday was boring, and we want wrestling.
yeah. Reaction is reaction. Love me or hate me, just react to me.
Guest host, how long can they sustain it?
I told you, and you mentioned it, and apparently others are mentioning it now. This is a Saturday Night Live deal. They can go as long as they want.
WWE, we joked about it. Robot Chicken, KFC, which was perverse. We joked about it.
No, Robot
They're
Chicken is
selling-
different than KFC.
They're selling their soul.
Oh yeah, but wrestling is sold there for a long
And
time
you said
ago.
insulting to the wrestling business in general, in my opinion. They're taking, they're putting a negative impact on the wrestling product.
Yeah.
To give us the promotional aspect of it.
I'm waiting for the ringside tarps to be banners, like in the outfield of baseball. That's next. That's what they're
People
gonna
don't
sell
like to
next.
be oversold. And once Raw becomes a NASCAR vehicle,
Yeah.
which is close to getting, that's going to be a problem for WWE.
Yep.
Now, reports are that Vince McMahon absolutely loved Jeremy Piven's performance on Raw. He was the first sort of heel guy, I would say. DiBiase did a little, but not really. Your thoughts would be appreciated on the WWE RAW Guest Host situation. But Meathead, let's go now to a couple of emails from PWR Interactive. This is a follow-up to yesterday's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Express at pwrshow.com. The first one is from a person by the name of Chris Hammers, who asks, or says, I hate it when people are a mark for only one company.
Have you not watched the program that we did?
I myself watch every company I can, apart from CZW, which is just horrible. I really enjoy the indie promotions, Ring of Honor, Shikara, PWG, as well as the Lucha companies at AAA and CMLL. To just choose between one of the top promotions in North America seems stupid.
Mark Counseling. Look the video up.
This is from Sam Sabiri, who says, I remember when Shawn Michaels was managed by Sensational Sherry, and with the whole sexy boy gimmick, and I think WWE is trying to do the same thing with Dolph Ziggler and Maria. Maria being Sherry and Ziggler being HBK. Your thoughts?
I've seen a comment, and I'm going to steal your thunder because I forgot your name, so I'll just assume it's mine. It's called OPF, Other People's Funnies. Dolph Ziggler.
You know what, OPF?
Dolph Ziggler looks like Kurt Russell.
Or Sid Vicious.
Kurt Russell. Take a look.
Do you want me to reread the question?
The question and the answer was they were going to try to do a whole Dolph is having sex with Maria thing. That didn't go over because it's
I
PG.
did not have sexual
And how many
relations with that woman.
What are they doing with Maria,
Maria?
if she's bouncing from guy to guy or bouncing on guy to guy to guy to guy? Maria has sold her soul.
Thank you, Sam, for that email. And remember, folks, you can send your emails and questions to us at pwrshow.com. Just click on the Contact Us links above on the top of the page and go ahead and drop down who you want to email and send us that email. The next one comes from Brian Weed. I found your site. Will you be on ESPN Radio after every TNA and WWE pay-per-view and Raw too? As a matter of fact, this week we're going to be on Monday night.
Monday.
Just after TNA's Hard Justice, we will be live again on that Sunday. So
Sunday.
when the schedule is favorable, we will be live right after the pay-per-view.
We
The
try.
only place to find out is to check out the Pro Wrestling Report website to get updates as to when the show will be airing. So thank you very much for that, Brian. Next one comes from Aussie Man, is the name. He says, how would you book Sting into the Bound for Glory show, knowing it might be his last show, and what opponent would you choose?
Broomstick. Because that's how much I want to watch Sting wrestle. My opinion.
Last match. There are a lot of reports out there. We know Sting signs a 12-month deal every year, and it ends right around Bound for Glory. There are reports out there he's going to hang up the boots after Bound for Glory 5. He has headlined, I believe, the last 3. And who should his opponent be? Is it the perfect opportunity to get over? AJ Styles. But would
It's a
AJ
good
have to go
idea.
heel to do it? You do face versus face.
It's a good idea. Because AJ needs that final bump from the top guy. But still, honestly, I don't want to watch Sting.
Next comes from Sam Griffow, who says, hi. I think WWE should go back to PG-14 so they can have blood, some inappropriate comedy, and some cuss words. But maybe try to make it okay for the little kids to watch. Think that would.
That's what Raw AM was supposed to be for.
Well, yeah, but it's on at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time. Back in the day when WWE was at a different rating, when they were at TV 14 or whatever it was,
I think the 9 to 10 Central was also TVMA.
they got a lot of heat for allegedly marketing to kids, and they weren't really aggressively doing so at the time. However, now with WWE Kids Magazine and obviously their more family-friendly programs, there is no doubt that they're marketing towards children. And quite frankly, if they didn't market towards children, they would have a lot of their stars no longer getting a reaction right now, specifically John Cena. So will they change it? I don't know. Will they get more of an edge? I'm not sure either, and we talked about that in this week's edition of the Nelson Analysis, which is available on this site as well. That'll be a new video actually, out each and every Monday at pwrshow.com. So check that out and find out what I had to say about the edge being missing in wrestling. And I'm not
Because he's
talking
injured.
Adam Copeland.
Edge on Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland on Edge.
Peter Martin sent in this email that says, should TNA stop focusing hard on men on a...
Men on men? Dameon,
No,
keep
no, no.
your mind straight.
Men on a mission, I was going to say. Main event mafia. And start focusing hard on their own talent, because all they're trying to do is getting all of the WWE guys.
They're not trying to get all the WWE guys. You're going to make that assumption because former WWE talent is in TNA. Well, you know what? There's TNA talent in WWE. That's how the wrestling business works. You move from company to company. Back in the 80s and back in the days of the independents, guys would take a break from a company and go work another company for a while. They work territories. All it is just more prevalent now. You're able to notice that, oh, TNA's got all these WWE rejects. Remember, we talked about that in our counseling.
And let's go over the list again of people who chose to go to TNA, which wouldn't make them a reject. Because if they, here's the thing, if you go to WWE like Christian did, is he a TNA reject? Because he made that choice. Kurt Angle made the choice, Booker T made the choice. Christian made the choice initially. But more than that actually got released and ended up going over to TNA. And TNA's mistake,
but that doesn't...
Taz made the choice, TNA made the mistake sometimes, or makes the mistake sometimes, of just bringing these people in, soaking up the payroll, and really not getting a bump from them.
Test, Rikishi, and the list goes on and on. But that's the thing. Again, they're not just WWE rejects. They just happen to be on another company. Why wouldn't you want to bring in a person who has name recognition? His name is a brand. Why wouldn't you want to bring in a brand to help promote your company and your show and your product?
YouTube user by the name of Madman BSA sent this in. TNA is going down the same path of WCW. Having one large heel faction controlling the company will create the same stale storylines. And if you do create a large faction, then don't do it with all of your older talent. Main Event Mafia is that if you have an unstoppable stable, then you don't promote the younger talent. Having all the older wrestlers leaving the younger ones behind isn't the smartest for the company. Team Canada was a good concept, but it grew old after a couple of years. AJ Styles is the face of TNA. He is their Sting. Samoa Joe, how is he their Sting if they have a Sting? But anyway, Samoa Joe, I feel like he is an add-on, so I couldn't call him the face. The product they need to be pushing is the X Division. They need to fill that whole WWE abandoned.
That's an opinion.
A lot of talk about AJ here, though.
AJ is the next big thing.
Louis Fernando.
He's not Damian Nelson's next big thing, who is, what's his name again?
Matt Morgan.
No. Damian Nelson's next big thing is
Brock
in the... No, he's in the British Invasion. What's his name again?
Oh, don't you dare do it.
What's his name?
Don't you dare do it.
What's his name?
Brutus?
No, not Brutus.
I know. I'm
Terry.
not even going to help you.
Terry.
Terry. This
the
is from
big
Louis.
one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did not say that Rob Terry
is Damian Nelson's next big
was the
thing.
next big thing. I did not say that at all.
Because look at the pattern. Damian Nelson hated on Matt Morgan for a good year. And now
I didn't hate on Matt Morgan.
He
I
hated on him.
simply questioned whether or not he was actually a giant.
He hated on him.
I question.
So now Rob Terry is Damian Nelson's big man for 2010.
Why are you making things up?
I'm
Fox
not making
News over
things
there?
up. Fox News.
Louis,
Power to the people. That I didn't mean that.
Luis Fernando de Leon, great name, Luis, said, "Am I the only one that thinks that AJ will become champion at Bound for Glory? I just say this because the past year they've been preparing AJ for the spotlight. Also, I see that the main reason why they took the Legends belt off of him was so that he could make a legit chase for the world title.
Should have never put the Legends belt on him. It made no sense.
The way I see it, AJ and the other young stars are going to be chasing the titles for a couple of months, and with it culminating at Bound for Glory, with what I think is going to be the downfall of the Mafia, with them losing all the titles."
Well, right now they don't have all the titles. As of this last
They're on their way to the knockouts?
They don't have all the titles.
Oh,
they're
lost
missing
Legends.
the Legends. Pay attention to the product.
This is from Ryan, who says, "Please tell me if Jeff Hardy is leaving WWE."
Well, when we talk to him, we'll ask him.
And if he does, then hopefully we can go ahead and get one of the first interviews with him.
No, we don't want one of. We want the first.
You can send your emails to comments@pwrshow.com. We will dedicate a weekly edition of Express to that and also talk about them here on this very program. Meathead, this past Monday night, Ken Anderson was on the
Anderson!
ESPN, his first interview since his departure from WWE, and boy, oh boy, was it controversial. He had a lot of interesting things to say about Triple H, confirmation of a lot of rumors out there about Triple H, adding John Cena to the mix, and talking about his dissatisfaction or his surprise with
I
the
think
way...
the line of the entire interview, Dameon Nelson, was, "You can never compete with Sunday brunch."
Specifically, here's what Anderson had to say regarding his release from WWE, and I quote, "To be honest with you, I really don't quite understand a lot of different things. I had some detractors in WWE. Obviously, I made some mistakes along the way, and I would take full responsibility. They told me they were not happy with the things that happened on that Monday night, and then decided that they were not going to go with the Ken Kennedy character anymore. Randy Orton and I had become very good friends. When I got to the building, I ran up behind him and gave him a big bear hug, and he treated me like I was just an acquaintance of his. He, and about supposedly dropping him on his head, he literally blew up in front of all the talent, including Vince and Stephanie, and told me how his health was very important, and it got to the point where everything I did was wrong."
Well,
Really no real reason given to Kennedy, to Anderson, for his release from WWE.
again, the basic line was, "We've decided not to continue on with the Mr. Kennedy character anymore."
We talked about that suplex. A lot of people all over the internet
We talked
said
about that suplex the week
June
after it
1st.
happened.
it was on the June 1st edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We talked about how that was not the case. It wasn't an injury, and it wasn't a botched suplex. And how many of you out there told us we were wrong and we didn't know what we were talking about? But be that as it may, clearly, if you watch the video, which is at pwrshow.com, you listen to Anderson talk, biased, of course, to his favor, I will admit that, but the evidence supports he didn't hurt Randy. There was no botched suplex, and that was not the reason for his release. However, in fairness, they never really gave him a valid reason for his release, but I'm not sure they had to.
You never have to, as far as a company. I mean, let's be honest. If I don't want Dameon working for my company anymore, I'll just tell him to get the hell out.
Regarding the WWE environment and planning, he said, "You're never told anything. There are two mountains in WWE. The mountain that the Undertaker stands on, and the mountain the other guy stands on." And we said, because he was not forthcoming with who that other guy was, but we said, "Is it Triple H?" And he then said, "I didn't say that, but you did, so I guess it's okay." So, talking about the mountains, Undertaker's the mountain where they'll drop a rope to you and help you up, and the Triple H / John Cena mountain is
Where
the
they
mountain that
throw
will throw
down
boulders
boulders.
at you as you try to ascend to the top.
Again, you can never compete with Sunday brunch.
And that was a comment that Anderson made regarding those close to Vince McMahon. He said, basically, when you're riding on the plane, when you're having Sunday brunch, when you're working out with them, when you're at the house having dinner, you're in the air. And when you put your head on the pillow down next to Stephanie McMahon, who is in charge of creative, more nights than not each week, as Triple H does, clearly, you got a little stroke there.
Well, I mean, if they're laying next to each other in the bed, somebody's getting stroked somewhere.
Now, it has been long reported out there, and we have actually debunked it for a while,
We've tried.
that Triple H does have all that influence in the company. He's in the spot he's in now because he's screwing the boss's daughter.
I don't think he's in the spot because, but it doesn't mean he doesn't take advantage of the spot that he has now. Let's
There
be
was a
clear about
situation which Anderson talked about where there was something going on in the locker room, and the entire company was addressed down at the ring and ringside. Triple H was in the ring, and he made the comment that he will find out whoever is doing what was being done wrong, and he would have them fired because he has that much power. Now, Meathead, what we said on the show and what we'll say again is when you can know that, you can assume that, you can think that, but the minute it's said, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
Changes the dynamic of how you work with other people. Makes you not want to work with a person, but work with them at the same time. Because you want to work with him because he's got that pull, but you're afraid to work with him because if you do something wrong, poof.
Carl. We talked about the lack of consistent enforcement of the WWE wellness policy. Obviously, Anderson made a lot of comments about substance abuse and use, and those comments were found to be a bit hypocritical by him. And he admitted that, he said a lot of things he shouldn't have and made a lot of mistakes. But a lot of people make mistakes, is what he said. But would not answer that question as directly as we would have liked him to. Because the rumors are a lot of the top guys in the company, specifically Triple H's, Randy Orton's, Batista's, Rey Mysterio's of the world.
You're not saying, and I'm not saying, but when a certain superstar came back, boy, he looked cut. Boy,
The masterpiece?
You're not saying, and I'm not saying, but when a certain superstar came back from his latest injury, boy, he looked cut. Like he had some sort of help.
No, he looked fat. Rey Mysterio.
And I'm talking about Ray.
What are you talking about?
I'm not saying.
Why are you not saying?
Because I'm not saying. Because I'm not that guy. And you're not that guy. Careful, I heard it pop.
Speaking of Masters returning, Eugene also returned on a house show last week.
I thought he was already at 3 strikes.
He was at 3 strikes.
Did he foul tip?
Was released. Masters was released after his 2nd strike. A mutual agreement, I believe, because he did not want to go to rehab. Brian Kendrick released as well because of various marijuana use violations.
But I thought marijuana wasn't part of the wellness policy.
It is a fined offense.
Okay, because marijuana can make you well, especially if you have glaucoma.
We talked about TNA. We asked Kennedy directly. We asked Anderson. I guess I'm calling him. We asked Anderson directly if he was going to go to TNA. He did confirm that he has been in informal talks
Very informal.
with the company, and nothing really has progressed as far as those talks go. But at least mentioning did Anderson that he would love to be a part of that company and that environment and have the chance and opportunity to entertain.
And that's really all it's about. I may look like an ass. I just try to entertain. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay. The summary statement that really struck me was this, and I quote, "The stuff that I've said so far is not just coming from me. There are a lot of people in the locker room frustrated."
I don't know if he's trying to make himself a martyr. I'm not sure. Or was he trying to defend himself? Again, we like Anderson. We like Ken.
Here's the question.
We do like Ken, but again, we can't be biased. Is he scorned?
Well, I mean, he was released, so obviously he's got hard feelings. There have been some conversations with him since that interview, and he has no regrets.
Good.
He knows
You
that
appreciate a man. You appreciate the man that stand behind.
Sinatra had no regrets either. He appreciates the fact that that bridge is burned potentially with World Wrestling Entertainment. But is it burned more than Hulk Hogan did it when he testified?
Possibly. I mean, it's possibly burned.
Never say never in the business.
You could have somebody poo in your bag, bring up a lawsuit against the company, and then come back and work for the company.
Yeah. If you haven't done so already, listen to that interview. It was in the top 20 on iTunes earlier in the week. Also, obviously, one of the top rated and favorited and viewed videos on YouTube this week as well. So a lot of people taking what they want from that interview, that conversation, that went about an hour and a half.
At least.
With Ken Anderson, formerly of World Wrestling Entertainment. You could also check out his videos and much more information from Kennedy at PWR Show.
Sure.
Anderson at PWRshow.com.
Sure. And I'd be amiss if I didn't mention that he's on Facebook. He's on
Amiss
Twitter.
or Rimus?
Amiss. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Monday night, we are live again on
Monday!
ESPN Radio. You can stream that show live at pwrshow.com right after WWE RAW will be on at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Sergeant Slaughter.
You puke? You maggot?
Is he to promote the G.I. Joe movie?
Actually, it's not on the site. Remember when he was the commissioner?
It was
Him
terrible.
and Austin. Oh, no, it wasn't. Because, actually, it is on the site. It was from WWE Ground Zero 1997 when JR took the stunner. And it was, I believe, the first in his series of stunners leading up to McMahon's stunner a month later at Madison Square Garden. And Austin mocking Slaughter in the ring that
Wasn't
night.
that when Slaughter was rumored to be China's dad?
Not sure about that.
They had the matching jaws.
Oh, yes. Didn't Triple H do that?
Yeah.
After, was it, you remember it was here in Milwaukee where he called China an ungrateful little bitch.
Yeah. That was when Triple H and China wrestled 3 or 4 times that night. It was the last taped Raw before SummerSlam, before the debut of SmackDown.
Another email from Tracy Smith about the Ken Anderson interview says, you and your associates had a great show. Ken Anderson is one of the most excitable and interesting characters in pro wrestling. I'm learning a lot about pro wrestling and enjoy the witty banter between you and your associates. I must
Why does he
admit,
keep saying associates? I'm confused.
I'm a neophyte of this sport entertainment.
I like the
Brett
neophyte.
Jackson sent this in as it pertained to the Mr. Anderson interview. A nice interview with Mr. Anderson, but the interview showed me the light of John Cena actions next to Triple H. I'm sorry. But the interview showed me the light of John Cena actions the next Triple H. You cannot get over or be bigger than John Cena or Triple H. I'm losing respect I had for John Cena's attitude and character. I hate him so much now, it's not funny. I respect his hard work in doing what he's told, but it's getting old. I've asked myself what happened to the old John Cena, and now I know Triple H changed him for the worse. I get why he doesn't wear those throwback jerseys, but I don't get why Cena doesn't rap or pump up the Reebok shoes anymore. So a lot of people took a lot of things from that commentary and that interview and that conversation with Ken Anderson from this past Monday night's show on ESPN Radio. Listen to it for yourself. Make your own determinations as to what was said. And context is very important. So make sure you listen to that at BWR.
Because if you were to take parts of his interview out of context, spoke of Chris Benoit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Take it in
Paul
context.
Heyman, Bob Holly, all
Sure.
that stuff. But for the cause, for David Hero, for the man they call Meathead, I am Dameon Nelson saying thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on what is this, Time Warner Cable and BWRShow.com. We'll see you again Monday night for the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.